What's up everyone, Harry over here at Tackle Express. Today we're going to be doing a breakdown comparison between some of the best reels on the market. We're going to be looking at the Daiwa Saltiga lever drag 2-speeds in comparison to the Shimano Talica lever drag 2-speeds. These two reels are exceptionally popular reels out here. We sell them really well online and in store. I'm going to give you some of my personal opinions, which should hopefully lead you guys into making the right decision for which reel is going to work best for you. In this video, we're going to be breaking down some of the more key information like the pounds of drag, inches per turn with the gear ratios, and some about line capacity. And without further ado, guys, let's jump on in, breaking these reels down. Starting off this video, we're going to jump into all the more specific options on the Daiwa Saltiga, then we'll bounce over to the Talica and compare and contrast between the two. One of the bigger standout with the Saltiga is their CRBB bearings, which are a corrosion-resistant ball bearing. They're a higher-end stainless steel that are 12 times longer lasting with a protective shield on the inside of the bearing, which is going to help prevent any impurities from getting inside of that reel, whether that be salt, sand, or anything else that doesn't belong in that reel. It's going to help prevent that from getting inside. It also comes equipped with the DigiGears. The DigiGear system is a manually digital design gear for both the stainless pinion and drive gear, which is a higher end quality. It's going to give you greater power, durability, and a long-lasting smoothness like no other reel on the market. Then they also have their automatic tournament drag. The biggest thing about that feature specifically is an upgraded quality grease, which is going to be better for heat. And when the drag first gets started up, typically there's a little more resistance to get it started. That newer redesigned grease is going to help minimize that startup inertia of the drag starting to peel out, which is going to give you a smoother, more performing reel like nobody's business. And now we're going to start talking about the all-new redesigned Shimano Talica, which is also jam-packed with a variety of awesome features, just like the Daiwa Saltiga. After this video, this should hopefully help be able to steer your decision in making the right purchase for what reel is going to work best for you. So jumping into the Talica series, it has a few new features such as the new S compact body, which reduces the size of the reel by 6% overall. It has 40% reduced line turning rotation, so under a long battle or fighting a big fish, the reduced tension of rotation is going to allow that handle to turn smoother, easier, and have less resistance or fatigue on you as a fisherman. It also is 25% smaller on the palm side, which is going to make it a little bit easier to palm and fight big fish all the time or all day long. The Infinity Drive is an extremely powerful reel with no binding effect. It has a bearing that's supported on the shielded shaft instead of the bearing, which is going to give you better deliverance of power, less binding, and there's going to be no tweaking of the reel. It's going to feel solid from the entirety of the start to finish of that fight. While the Hagane body, the material that the reel itself is made out of, which is one of Shimano's potent options out on their market that's in almost all of their reels, that's going to give it a rigid metal body that's going to avoid any flexing and keep its rigid shape, which is ideal for fighting big fish. We just finished covering all the specifics between the two brands. Now let's get into the comparison of the reels more specifically. Here we're going to be looking at the Daiwa Saltiga 35 to the Shimano Talica 12, which are overall extremely comparable from the line capacity, the drag output, inches per turn, and overall very similar costs. Starting off with the Shimano Talica 12, it weighs in at 24.9 ounces, roughly 400 yards of 65-pound braid, 355 yards of 80, with a maximum drag of 44 pounds, and a high gear ratio of 5.7, 42 inches per turn, and a low gear ratio of 3.1 with 23 inches per turn. While jumping over to its counterpart, the Daiwa Saltiga 35, it weighs in at 24.7 instead of 24.9, roughly 330 yards of 65-pound braid, 230 of 80, and 40 pounds of drag instead of 44 from the Shimano Talica. Again, overall, very, very comparable. Finishing up with the Saltiga 35, it has a high gear ratio of 5.8, 42.8 inches per turn, and a low gear ratio of 3.1, 22.6 inches per turn. So overall, again, they are exceptionally comparable. I do fish them both. I love them both. There are some things that I like about each individualized reel. For instance, on the Daiwa Saltiga 35, I do think it is extremely pretty. It has an immaculate free spool like no other, while the Talica is always just crisp. Ever since I put my hands on one, it's always been a phenomenal product. Still has an exceptionally great free spool. All in all, both are very comparable. Finishing up with the smaller Daiwa Saltiga 35 and the Shimano Talica 12, we're going to jump up the scale and take a look at some of the larger models offered from both of these brands. Now let's compare some of the larger models offered. For instance, right here we got the Shimano Talica 20 in comparison to the Daiwa Saltiga 55. Both are exceptionally comparable from the inches per turn, line capacity, and overall cost. Starting down by breaking up the Shimano Talica 20. It has a weight of 36.3 ounces, 575 yards of 80, and roughly 490 yards of 100 pound with a maximum drag of 50 pounds. Its high gear ratio is 5.2, 48 inches per turn and high, while its low gear is 1.9, 17 inches per turn in low gear. Transitioning on over to its counterpart, the Daiwa Saltiga 55, it weighs in at 37 ounces instead, 550 yards of 80, and roughly 440 yards of 100, and a maximum drag of 45 pounds instead of 50 pounds. Its high gear ratio is 5.2, yielding 46.3 inches per turn and high, while its low gear ratio is 2.3, yielding 20.6 inches per turn. So overall, these reels are exceptionally comparable. 45 pounds of drag, while this guy has 50 pounds of drag, right around 440 yards of 100, right around 490 yards of 100. So a 50-yard difference of capacity on the Talica and 5 pounds of added drag. So that's making the Talica look really nice. But the Saltiga does have an extremely beneficial property, which is this added stock stainless steel T-bar handle. This T-bar handle is comfortable, smooth, sleek. You don't have to worry about your hands slipping off once it gets wet or a little bit bloody from the fish. While looking at the Talica 20, it comes with this knob style, which there's nothing wrong with the knob, but it doesn't quite allow you to get as much torque or power like that T handle does. They do manufacture replacement T-bars that you can upgrade on this Talica, or in their larger version, they do have a Shimano Talica 25, which already comes stock with this upgraded T-handle. So there you are, guys. That's the breakdown of comparison, looking at the Daiwa Saltiga 55 in comparison to the Shimano Talica 20. And there you have it, everyone. That's the full breakdown and comparison between the Daiwa Saltiga and the Shimano Talica. Hopefully this video helps steer you in the right direction to make the right purchase for you and how you like to fish. But some of the things that I might like to point out from my own personal experience, which for me, Daiwa, this is one of the biggest features that I care for, is the lever drag stop. So no matter what, no matter how hard, no matter how fast you send this lever from free spool into strike, it's always going to stop right here at this drag stop. The only way you're going to go past that is if you click in and slowly send that lever up into full, which is a great feature in my opinion. While on the Shimano Talica line, on all of the Talicas, they do not have a switch that blocks it from going into full. So if you jump the gun, get a little excited, you could accidentally send it from what would be strike into full, kind of like such. So once you have a little bit of drag applied, there is some resistance to where it does click into strike and it kind of buckles up for a moment as such. But again, if you did get a little excited, you could send it forward a little too fast, which could make or break your trip. If that's more of the deciding factor between you, that is a great thing on Daiwa, that lever drag stop. But on the lever drag series, usually the best way to even avoid it when it doesn't have that lever drag stop is a nice, slow, incremental increase, and if you hear, it'll click right into strike. When you want to go past that into full, you'll just grab it, slightly push forward, and incrementally increase the drag to your liking. So that's one of the bigger deciding factors for someone like myself. While looking at the larger versions over here, the Daiwa Saltiga 55 in comparison to the Shimano Talica 20, the Daiwa Saltiga is a little bit more expensive in comparison, but it does come stock with this super nice aluminum handle here, which is extremely comfortable, allows you to really get a lot of torque and power on those fish, and especially that larger grade, which for these larger reels, the Talica 20, Talica 25, and as well as the larger Saltiga 55 and 60s, they're really good to fish mainline anywhere from 60 up to 100-pound test, looking to catch fish that might be anywhere from 60 upwards of 200 pounds potentially. So the big power handle from the 55 Daiwa Saltiga is a good thing, while again on the Talica 20 it does come with this more knob style, which just doesn't allow you to get quite as much torque and leverage. It is still a fantastic reel, but if that's a breaking factor for you, they do make replacement handles for the 20, or you can jump up to the little bit larger Talica 25, which already comes stock with this upgraded T-handle. And again, the Daiwa Saltiga is just a squeak bit more expensive than the Talica lineup. They're both exceptional reels. One thing that I did like on the Daiwa Saltiga end was that lever drag stop, but the Talica series, they do have exceptional smoothness like no other reel, and the Saltiga has an excellent free spool like nobody's business. So any of the reels are fantastic, and I recommend these both. I fished them both on my own, so I could actively and confidently recommend either of these reels, but hopefully this video is steering you in the right direction to make the right purchase for yourself. But touching back up on the little bit smaller guys over here, again, the biggest thing for me with the Saltiga was that lever drag stop. But on these slightly smaller ones, the Daiwa Saltiga lever drag 35, and then the Shimano Talica 12. They're much greater, 20 upwards of 40-pound line fishing reels, which you're going to be targeting fish that might be anywhere from 20 upwards of 60 to 70 pounds around there. You could probably get a little bit bigger, definitely smaller, but these reels are great for your lighter style fishing, 20 to 40 pound, while these bigger reels are designed for the heavy fish, 60 upwards of 100-pound test. So, and that's the full breakdown, guys. Hopefully this video helped steer you in the right direction to make the purchase that's going to suit you best. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to ring that bell to be notified on our next video. Drop a like and feel free to leave a comment of what you thought down below and which reel you're going to choose. And until next time, guys, Harry over at Tackle Express.